Welcome, everyone. In this video, we're going to talk through my take on the yellow aggressive decks of the Vibes TCG. Now, it's been a while since I've made the deck guide for this deck, so I figured this would be a good point to kind of just remake the guide from the beginning. The yellow aggressive deck holds a very special place in my heart because it's the very first deck I ever built. Now, the list is a little different than the first version I made, but overall, the core concepts are very similar. It's also the deck that I climbed to Dummy Thick with in Season 0. So, to talk a little bit about the overall concept of the deck, it's really just a hyper aggressive deck where you're trying to win as quickly as possible. It's definitely not the strongest deck in the game because it is extremely weak to board clears, but it holds a important role in the meta because it keeps other decks honest. Like, if decks get too slow and greedy, the yellow aggressive deck can just come in and starts gaining in popularity, at which point decks have to adjust to kind of play for it. So, the other thing that's really nice about this deck is it's very cheap to build. It does have 8 rare cards in it, but those rare cards are all easily replaceable, and we'll talk about that in the budget substitution section of the deck guide. In this video, we're going to first talk through how the deck is built, going through each card and its role and how to use it. Then we're going to talk about tech cards and budget substitutions. After that, we're going to talk through the strategy of the deck, of how to play it, and including how to mulligan. And then we're going to jump into some games. So the yellow aggressive deck is trying to get to 15 cards as quickly as possible. So the core engine of the deck is actually its card draw. So let's talk about the 3 pieces of card draw in the deck first. So the first one is check the yellow pages. So this is one of the best cards in the deck, and it says reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Put all the yellow penguin cards you reveal into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. And because of check the yellow pages, we are really limited to not playing any neutral colored penguins because right we want this to maximize its effectiveness. The other card draw, which is similar to check the yellow pages, which is also a yellow action costing 3 pudge, but this says reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, put all action cards you reveal into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So prepare for the wild night is also the nice thing about this is it doesn't say it has to be yellow action cards, which allows us to play some non-yellow actions as well. So the goal of this deck is really to try to play these 2 actions as early and as frequently as possible. The other card draw is Penguin Who Might Bring a +1, which says when this penguin enters the huddle, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a penguin card with a fish cost of 2 or less, draw it. If not, put it on the bottom of your deck. So Penguin Who brings a +1, this really limits us to really wanting to play basically just penguins that cost 2 fish or less to maximize its effectiveness. And if we look at like how many of those are in this deck, it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So over half the deck easily. So this has over a 50% hit rate. And then the other card that's like sort of like card draw is PenguinWhoZooms, which basically says as an additional cost to play this penguin, return a non-speedy penguin from your huddle to its owner's hand. So you really just the main reason for this card is to basically use it on Penguin Who Might Bring a +1 so you can play it again and draw cards again. Now, the nice thing about PenguinWhoZooms is because it only costs 1 fish, there's often turns where you have an odd number of rods, and PenguinWhoZooms is a good card in order to kind of fill out your curve. All right, so that was a card draw. So let's talk a little bit more about the removal. So in general, you actually don't really want to use removal a lot in this deck because the point of this deck is to try to get to 15 as quickly as possible. So whenever you use removal, you end up like slowing your clock down. However, there's certain penguins like Popcorn Penguin and maybe Ascending Penguin that really do need to get removed or you're going to lose the game. And so the removal packages, you've got Daydreaming Penguin, which is just it's mainly in here actually just because it's a penguin, but it can also remove a penguin with vibe 2 or less by icing itself and that penguin. So, right, one of the things with this card though is it doesn't work really well against Popcorn Penguin because, right, Popcorn Penguin will remove Daydreaming Penguin before the action time starts. But if you have 2 Daydreaming Penguins in your hand, you can play them both and then you'll be able to remove the popcorn. The other piece of removal is GotEm. So the reason we play GotEm is only because of Popcorn Penguin, because right, this deck is extremely weak to Popcorn Penguin, and so this prevents your opponent from playing the Popcorn Penguin on turn 4. Right, they'll have to buff it first, and hopefully, if they have to take the time to buff their Popcorn Penguin first, you will be able to get enough pudge on the board to be able to play Not Your Keys. And Not Your Keys is 4 Pudge and says choose a penguin and ice it. So the way that this deck kind of works with the removal is you remove early popcorns with GotEm and maybe Daydreaming if you have 2 of them, and then Not Your Keys will come in for a later popcorn. Basically, in every game, you just want to be thinking about how can I deal with Popcorn Penguin, because if you have an unchecked Popcorn Penguin on the board, you will lose the game. Because you have no buffs really on your side of the board. So next, we just play a bunch of other yellow penguins in order to fill out the deck. So, right, we'll play Flying Penguin, which is 1 fish, which is, it's just really strong because you can play this on turn 1. We've got PotStirringPenguin, which can produce 2 Pudge in almost all situations, because it says as long as your huddle has 3 or more penguins, including this penguin can produce 2 yellow Pudge. And then there's also YellowWizardPenguin, which also produces 2 yellow Pudge, although it does enter flopped. And then we have Penguin Who's Late to the Party, which can actually act sort of like a finisher in the deck because, right, you'll generally have more penguins in your huddle. So if you play it, it often can come in with 6 vibe counters on it, making it 8-5, which in certain matchups is enough to win the game. But one thing to be careful with this card is you really always want to lose the vibe check until the very last turn. So be careful about playing it in its big form, unless you have a lot of draw cards so you can keep flopping it. So that kind of finishes all the penguins, except there's also, I guess, Penguin of the Falling Leaves. So this is the weakest penguin by far. And the reason for that is actually that it's 4 vibe. And that means that you'll frequently end up actually winning vibe checks with it, which is the exact opposite of what you want. And so this one we only play 2 of because we did have to make space. Because really, the other cards that are in the deck, the final 6 cards, are the 2 finishers. So we play 3 copies of BuddyUp, and we play 3 copies of Put Your Flippers in the Air. So overall, when we look at the finishers, I have found that 6 is about the right amount. I used to play all 8, but I found that I just had them too often in my hand. So in general, BuddyUp is the best finisher there is. Like in almost all cases, it's going to be way better than Put Your Flippers in the Air because it can't really be countered. But there are 2 situations where Put Your Flippers in the Air is better. The first is against a green Mega Penguin, because with BuddyUp, you're not going to be able to get past a green Mega Penguin. And there are several decks right now that use green Mega Penguin that are in the meta, so you need to be able to have an answer to that. And the second thing is, in like the mirror matchup, sometimes there are decks that can actually go wider than you. And in those cases, Put Your Flippers might be good enough to get you over the finish line. So yeah, so that's kind of the deck, and those are all the cards that are in it. So let's talk quickly about some tech choices. Basically, if you want to tech the deck, I wouldn't add any cards that aren't in here, but you could kind of adjust the quantities. Like if you're playing a lot of caffeine, you should probably put in 4 Put Your Flippers in the Air. And if you're seeing very little too much caffeine, I would put in 4 BuddyUp and 2 Flippers. You could also like cut down on the GotEms if you're running into very few popcorns. Like if for some reason popcorn lost its popularity, I would cut the GotEms and maybe put in more Penguin of the Falling Leaves. So, but yeah, so I don't really think there's a lot of changes I would do based on the meta. I think this deck list is just really tight. I think it's, and it's kind of more just like, is it the right deck for the meta instead of how do you build it right? In terms of budget substitutions, right? The rare cards are Penguin Who Might Bring a +1, but you should at least have 1 copy of this because it does come in the yellow starter deck. And then there's GotEm. And so what I would do is, right, I would first max out BuddyUp, Put Your Flippers, and Penguin of the Falling Leaves. So that should be 4. So whatever you're missing of these, so right, you could be max missing 7. So the first 4 of them that you're missing, I would just get BuddyUp, Put Your Flippers, and Penguin of the Falling Leaves to be 4 copies of each. And then if you're still missing cards, then I would be using Mysterious Penguin. So Mysterious Penguin can help you. It's like a pseudo finisher because it says when this enters the huddle, if there are 4 more yellow penguins, including this one, choose a penguin and flop it. So Mysterious Penguin does give another good target for PenguinWhoZooms. So that can work okay. But the problem with Mysterious Penguin, it's just really expensive at 3 fish. It doesn't work with the Penguin Who Might Bring a +1. And it also just, right, 3 Pudge is just kind of a lot for this deck because you're really trying to run very few rods. And as a result, I find that this card can clog up your hand. All right, so that's the deck. So let's talk a little bit about the mulligan and strategies. So for the mulligan, basically the most important cards are card draw. So I'm always looking for Prepare for a Wild Night, Check the Yellow Pages, and Penguin Who Might Bring a +1. If I have card draw, I then like to keep the cards that go with the card draw. So Penguin Who Might Bring a +1, if I have that, I will keep PenguinWhoZooms. If I have Prepare for a Wild Night or Check the Yellow Pages, with one of these cards, I will keep a PotStirringPenguin or a WizardPenguin because those help you accelerate those out faster. The other card looking for is Flying Penguin, which right, this is just a good turn one play to kind of get you on the board and get things rolling quickly. And then also GotEm. So GotEm is just, it's very important because it gives you an answer to an early popcorn penguin. So if your hand is perfect and you think that your opponent is running popcorn penguin, you could justify keeping not your keys. So like if you have a really good hand, like the first four cards of your hand are good, I would maybe keep not your keys to just make sure you don't lose to popcorn penguin. So that's kind of the mulligan. So let's talk a little bit more about the strategy of the deck. So basically what you're trying to do is you're just trying to draw as many cards as possible quickly. And so your early turns are all about planning out how to get to increments of 3 pudge and how to play prepare for a wild night and check the yellow pages. In the mid game, you should then start thinking about what like key threats your opponent is playing and if you need to use removal on them. So like I said before, only remove things if it's absolutely necessary because you're trying to get to 15 as quickly as possible, and every time you use a card for removal, that's a card you're not using to win the game. And in the mid game, you definitely want to start setting up your final turn. And so that means like right on turn 1, I would probably rod a BuddyUp or I put your flippers, but in the mid game, start holding those back in your hand so that you can have that final turn. Also, what opponents will often do is, right, if you use your finisher, they will use removal to knock you off of 14. So in general, it's if you can afford it, having like a backup finisher can be very useful. The other concept I want to talk through briefly is the vibe check. So this deck does not need a lot of fish. Like you can easily get by with only 4 rods the entire game. So I think under pretty much every single circumstance, you always want to lose a vibe check. Now this is a big difference from the other aggressive decks, like the green aggressive deck or the green mega caffeine deck. So just it's a little bit of a mental mind shift, but yeah, basically you're always trying to lose a vibe check, and therefore yeah, just play like that, and it also really helps you, figure out how to use your removal properly because, like, losing the vibe check, not only does it give you the benefit of having the extra card, but it also, like, lets you see what your opponent plays so you can react appropriately. Um, okay, cool. So I guess there's one other concept I wanted to mention, which is thinking about board clears. So, right, this deck is extremely weak to board clears. Like, it really can't do anything about it. Like, if you get board cleared, you basically lose the game because, yeah, like as you get board cleared, right, you don't have a lot of rods out, so you can't really rebuild fast, and you're just like dumping all your cards on the board. So, if you're playing a deck that runs board clears, so specifically like Yellow Yum Yum or a blue deck with Send It Too Hard, you really need to decide how you're going to approach the game. So option one is you just go full speed and you say, I think I can beat them before they can set up their board clear. And that also might require removing like some wizard penguins or pot stirring penguins to keep them off of five pudge. Because it is possible against a yum yum deck if they didn't draw quite right to keep them off of the pudge. And with the blue deck, you basically just want to beat them before they can get 15 cards in your ice. So I think the other option is you play it like really held back. Personally, I prefer to just go all in. Right, you do end up losing a decent amount of games like that, but the problem is if you play too slow, you're pretty much guaranteed to lose in a lot of situations. So I think that's definitely a delicate balance, and not every game like goes the same. Like right, if you're playing against a matchup with that has board clears, and you just have all of your card draw, like you play prepare for a wild night, and with that, you end up drawing like 2 more Prepare for Wild Nights and to check the yellow pages. At that point, you're just like, wow, I have like infinite card draw. So if you have so much card draw, then you could say, maybe I can even outlast the board clear. Like maybe I'll just play a few more rods and I'll just have this like giant hand and I'll be able to actually like win against the board clear, even like through one board clear. So it is a little case dependent, but it is something that you want to identify quickly if they're playing a board clear and then decide which strategy is most appropriate based on how the game's going. But I think one of the reasons right now that this deck can do well is there really just aren't a lot of board clears going around. Like, I think blue and yellow Yum Yum are relatively unpopular, and most of the popular decks actually don't run board clears. Instead, these decks really rely on Popcorn Penguin to keep this deck under control. And that's why we're able to kind of handle that by really focusing by playing the 4 copies of GotEm and the 4 copies of Not Your Keys. Okay, so that's the setup of the deck. So let's jump into some games and see how it performs. All right, taking a look at our first hand, it looks like, yeah, so we have a bunch of GotEms and a Wizard Penguin, but we don't have any card draw. So I think I'm going to just keep one GotEm and mulligan the rest, just looking for that card draw. And again, the Wizard Penguin by itself is not really that strong. So, like, we really want to get the card draw instead. Okay, so we did get a lot of card draw. And so we're playing against a yellow deck. So this is probably some sort of more aggressive yellow build. So I think it's good we drew the flying penguin because that can go well with the card draw we have. And right, we'll have the wizard next. I think we will play the wizard before we play the pot stirring, just because the wizard penguin, you know, it enters flopped. And if we're lucky with the pot stirring, if we did happen to draw one more flying penguin, we would be able to draw multiple cards. So play 2 prepare for a wild night next turn. Or maybe even check the yellow pages. Okay, so so this is a little, yeah, I guess we'll use a pot stirring penguin as the rod, really maximizing the card draw. This is a little risky because if they do remove one of our penguins, we don't have a good play for next turn. So this is extremely greedy, actually. Probably maybe I should have used a prepare for a wild night as a rod. Because if I don't draw another penguin here, I don't have a play this turn. So maybe that was wrong. Although a large portion of our deck is penguins. So hopefully we draw a penguin. Because if we don't, this could be a bit of a slow start. But okay, so they also didn't have a penguin. Okay, so we don't have a penguin either. So well, either way, we're only going to be able to play one piece of card draw this turn. So the nice thing too is by playing this, we're going to lose the vibe check as well. So I do wonder if I should use a piece of removal here on the pot stirring penguin. Okay, so we have 4 next turn. No, I think we're good. I think we'll have a good turn next turn. So because if there's a chance if we draw a flying penguin, maybe we can actually play 2 pieces of card draw next turn. So okay, so we really have a lot of GotEm. So I guess that'll be good unless they play an inspiring story later. So yeah, so okay, so let's see, because this could also be a slower yellow build. Like, if it was the aggressive deck, I would have imagined that they would have played more. Okay, so this is definitely going to be worth a GotEm to take care of that extrovert because right, it'll be good to take care of it before it grows out of control. So we'll play double daydreaming. I think I'm still going to use the GotEm against the extrovert just because I have so many of them. But yeah, let's see. Let's maybe start with the GotEm on the extrovert because also like I want to be able to have 6 pudge next turn in order to play 2 pieces of card draw. So I think I'd prefer to keep the daydreamings. And so let's do prepare for a wild night. Is there a way we can lose the vibe check? No. So we might as well do it like this to tie the vibe check. Also, I think in this case, tying the vibe check might actually be the right move. Okay, so what did I get here? Okay, so I got a finisher. I have a check the yellow pages. Do I want to? I am wondering if I should remove the pot stirring, just because I don't know what's in his hand, because it could be slow and this could be a yum yum build. But I think this is one of those games where we actually have we have so much card draw that we could probably fight through a yum yum. So next turn we're gonna play 2 pieces of card draw as well. And I do kind of want to maybe end this game quickly. So let's see what they do. But yeah, I do. Right, this is definitely not the aggressive deck. Okay, so well, so we had our chance to remove stuff, but now we won't be able to remove it anymore because yeah, because of the inspiring story. So okay, so we're gonna play 2 pieces of card draw. So there's really no point. So the question is, do we want to play this as a rod or as a penguin? And I kind of think maybe we play it. I think we just play it as a penguin. No, because we're gonna draw a lot of cards this turn. So I think we want. Yeah, I think we wanna have a lot of fish for next turn because, right, we might draw a lot with, check the yellow pages. We're also gonna draw 2 cards from yeah, we're gonna draw 2 cards from Prepare for a Wild Night. So, on the ordering here, right, we'll play Prepare for a Wild Night first. I think this is just generally good practice because, right, maybe we'll draw some actions here that would change what we do. I think in this case, it doesn't really change that. But okay, so we got a check the yellow pages with the prepare for wild night. So that's not really ideal because it was just kind of a 1-for-1 trade. But hopefully we'll get some good penguins with the check the yellow pages. So let's see what we get here. Only one penguin. Okay. So overall, those card draws were not very useful because they were each 1-for-1. But okay, so how many cards do we have? So we have 12, or so we're at nine cards now with 3 in our hand, which gets us to 12. Um, so yeah, okay, so we got a penguin who might bring a +1 with a penguin who zooms. So we'll be able to activate that twice next turn if we play a rod. So we'll see what happens there. And I'm definitely getting a little worried about Yum Yum now, but there's really nothing we can do about it. The only thing we could do is okay, so we don't have an answer for the popcorn either. So we're just gonna have to fight through the popcorn. So let's see what we get there. The BuddyUp, so that's not really what we need. So yeah, so there's really no answer we have for the popcorn. So we really needed a what's it called? So yeah, so we're just gonna have to accept the popcorn removing our penguins. So this is a yeah, so this is definitely unfortunate. Um, but yeah, so yeah, that's also really sad we lost the yeah, so maybe I should have not replayed the penguin who might bring a +1 because I wanted it in our hand for the well, I didn't know I was gonna get the penguin who zooms, so maybe that was okay still. But maybe we'll get another one. Okay, so we got another one. So yeah. So okay. So I think we're gonna try to win the game next turn. I think we should be able to get to we have to get to 15 because the popcorn will knock us down to 14. So I'm not sure. Our card draw, like we've had a lot of card draw. Okay, so we have the penguin who's late to the party, which will be good because that will win us the vibe check. So that means we won't have to use the put your flippers. But so we've been having a good um yeah, so we've been getting a good amount of card draw cards, but the card draw itself hasn't been hitting that well. I'm definitely a little worried here about okay, so with the green mega penguin, there's really no way we can yeah, so the penguin who's late to the party won't be sufficient. So we're gonna have to use the put your flippers in the air. So the nice thing is that this yellow that the green mega like I'm not worried about Yum Yum anymore. So yeah, so let's see what we draw here. So we got a penguin who zooms. So can we get to 15 this turn? So I think we can. So we'll play the penguin who's late to the party. And then we'll play the pot stirring as a rod. We'll play the well, no, that was so I think wait, can we get to 15? Because yeah, I think we go here, we play get the flying penguin back, and then we play the flying penguin. Okay, so we're at 15 now. So we'll be able to do put your flippers in the air on one of our cards, like on the penguin who zooms, and then we should be able to win the final vibe check. Um, oh, so the one thing is actually, if they have a GotEm, I don't wanna use it. Yeah, because if I play the put your flippers here, if they have a GotEm, I will not win the game. So I think I'm actually gonna wait one more turn. Um, so I yeah, because I wasted a, penguin who zooms activation. So that was a mistake on my part, because I wasn't thinking about, like, losing to GotEm, but now that I'm thinking about that, I think we're far enough ahead that we can afford to wait 1 turn. So, let's see. Okay, so they're going for the win this turn as well. So luckily I have put your flippers and I have not your keys. So I think we're in a good position. So I think we'll get the penguin who brings a +1 back. Maybe we'll hit. Okay, we didn't hit. So we'll play pot stirring. And I think at this point, I'm gonna play not your keys also as a rod, just because in this case, in case they have like 3 GotEms, I should be able to still get through 3 GotEms. No, I can get through 2 GotEms. So let's see. So if they have if they have 2 GotEms, I will still be fine. But if they have 3 GotEms, I will not win. Okay, so we'll put the flipper. So we have to make sure not to put it on a penguin with with 2 vibe, because if we put on a penguin with 2 vibe, then right, then they can counter it with a GotEm. So let's see. So hopefully the put your flippers will be sufficient and we'll end up winning the game. So let's see. So yeah, maybe. So the only thing we would lose to now is 2 GotEms. No, 3 GotEms. And so yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, so they don't have 3 GotEms, so we come out on top. Okay, cool. So this was a right. So against the so I think the like green mega caffeine deck is actually one of the decks that the yellow aggressive deck is in a good position for, and it's because of the way that put your flippers works. Like they don't have a good way to handle that play, and so yeah. So it was. You did also see that one other way you can deal with a popcorn penguin is just to kind of just brute force through it. So I had so much card draw that the card advantage from the popcorn penguin just wasn't enough. So cool. Okay, so good start for the games. And so yeah, let's jump to the next one. All right, so taking a look at our hand, so we do have check the yellow pages. So I think we want to keep that, and we want to keep GotEm. We'll keep one GotEm in case there's an early popcorn. And so the question is, do we keep daydreaming? I think because we have check the yellow pages, it's a good question. I think I want to get rid of daydreaming because I really want to get a wizard penguin or a flying penguin. Okay, so we got a flying penguin, so we're gonna be off to a fast start. We still need one more penguin because right with this start here. Oh, there's a wizard penguin, even better. So we're gonna do flying penguin into wizard penguin into check the yellow pages. The penguin who zooms. I'm hoping we can hold it back in order to save it for what's it called? For a penguin who might bring a +1. So let's see if we can get that. Okay, we lost to check the yellow pages, which is not okay. So we got the penguin who might bring a +1. So I think we will play the yellow. We'll still play the yellow wizard penguin this turn. Do I want to play a rod this turn? So next turn we're going to go penguin who might bring a +1 into penguin who zooms. So I don't think I need to play a rod because also I might even get a rod with flying penguin. And again, with this deck, we're really trying to go wide, and so there's no benefit in order to hold back. Okay, so they're playing the caffeine deck again. So against the caffeine deck, okay, so this means that we're gonna have trouble because playing the check the yellow pages just because right? Because they're going to be flopping our wizard penguin. So we need to actually get 2 penguins on the board this turn, which makes me So it's not ideal because yeah, we won't even be able to do it now actually because the penguin who might bring a +1 is yeah, is not going to work with the penguin who zooms, right? Because I can play this. Yeah, I think I'm still going to do it. I'll still play it out because and so Penguin of the Falling Leaves actually is probably worth more than Daydreaming Penguin in this matchup, just because it enables us to get a good target for the what's it called? For the put your flippers in the air that has a higher vibe than 2 to protect it against GotEm. So I'm gonna actually hold the Penguin of the Falling Leaves. So how are we going to deal with what's it called? With Popcorn Penguin? So we don't have a good answer for Popcorn Penguin yet, right? Because or we do if they play it on 4, we can got 'em it. But if they wait to buff it first, then we need to get a Not Your Keys. So the 2 key cards we're really looking for right now are Not Your Keys and Put Your Flippers in the Air, right? Because we'll need that to finish this game. So let's see if we can get either of those. I do also just want as many card draw cards like the penguin. Oh, so we have Put Your Flippers, so that's perfect. So let's just keep drawing cards. All right, cool. Pot stirring is good. We'll play the wizard penguin now. Well, should we? I want to make sure to get the check the yellow pages off this turn. No, so maybe I'll play that because if they flop, no. But if I play this and then they have a what's it called? If they play a popcorn penguin this turn, I will lose 2 penguins because one will get flopped with too much caffeine and the popcorn will take out one. And so I want to make sure that so if they take out pot stirring and flop the wizard penguin, then I still have Pudge to play check the yellow pages. So I think that this is, playing the wizard penguin. Yeah, okay, so here comes the popcorn. So as I was expecting, so this is a good play because if we had played the wizard penguin, we wouldn't be able to what's it called? We wouldn't be able to play the check the yellow pages this turn. So good thing we have the GotEm. So hopefully they don't have the not a rod anymore because if they have not Errata anymore, they could counter this. But the problem now is we can't deal with the second we can't deal with a second popcorn penguin. So let's really hope that they don't have one. So we're really looking for a yeah, oh, not your keys would have been nice, but obviously, right, we don't get it because it's not a penguin. So yeah, a wild knight would be good here because we really need a way to deal with the next popcorn penguin. So I'm not sure exactly how many popcorn penguins they're going to have. So okay, so let's see. So I think we'll play the yeah, because we don't have anything to play this turn. Okay, so I think and so the question is, do we play the late to the party? I don't. I think we'll hold that back one more turn. Because ideally we do want to lose the vibe checks, and so if they play like a green mega penguin or something, but yeah, if they play a second popcorn, this is going to be a very rough game because we don't have an answer to it, and so yeah, so let's see, so yeah, a second popcorn will be very very brutal, but we would have like it's not like we ever um didn't play any not your keys. Okay, so it's good. So I think they might this doesn't mean that they don't have a second popcorn penguin because right, what they might be doing is just setting up for the next popcorn penguin because they don't want me to GotEm it, which is also why I think in general there's no point to really keep two GotEms because if you use one GotEm, they know you have GotEm in your deck and then they don't really try to play the next GotEm. So, okay. So let's see what's coming up next. Okay, so so we really want yeah, not your keys would be really nice. Okay, but we don't really have a choice. We've just got to go all in. That's kind of how this deck works. So we're at 13. So I guess we could have played the put your flippers as a rod. Um that could have maybe won in certain situations, but I think it would have lost to a popcorn penguin. It would have lost to a green mega penguin. So I think it's better like this. This is a slower, safer play. So it looks like they don't have the popcorn. So yeah, so I think overall we will yeah, we're not gonna win. We're gonna lose this vibe check, which is fine. And we have to put your flippers in the air. So the only question is, um, hmm, yeah, like will we well, yeah, we want to set up ourselves up not to lose to GotEm. But I do think that this green mega penguin caffeine deck has been running less GotEms to begin with. So okay, so now we can probably use ooh, Hungry Penguin is not ideal, right? Because if we use put your flippers on something, then right, the Hungry Penguin can flop that. So I mean, let's just start by playing. Yeah, I think we just play this penguin. So we do right. We will be able to flop the Hungry Penguin with the caffeine. And then we can use put your flippers on a penguin. So they could use what a twist then. So I'm not sure if yeah, so let's see. Oh, anyway, so if they have a what a twist, right, they can unflop the Hungry Penguin. At which point, right, we'll just play well, should we do prepare for a wild night first? Yeah, let's do prepare for a wild night first because that will give us more insight into what we're gonna have to work with here. Because maybe we'll get like a not your keys or something. Okay, so we just got another flippers. Okay, perfect. So we can play flippers this turn. Um, and then right, if they have a what a twist, right? If they have a what a twist for the hungry penguin to flop this, then we have the next put your flippers for next turn. So it's not yeah, so then hopefully they don't have a yeah, hopefully they don't have another what a twist. So um yeah, so either way, like it wouldn't have mattered to save this to play it on the same turn. So because even then if we had like played the put your flippers on a different penguin the same turn, they could have just if they had two what a twist, they could have just used two what a twist. So hopefully, so let's see what happens next turn. Right. We're still in a good place. We can still beat one more what a twist. And if we're lucky, right, we'll be able to yeah, if we got like a not your keys with prepare for a wild night, then we could maybe deal with the hungry penguin proactively. So let's see. I mean, but they're gonna go to 14. All right, they're gonna go to the blue swordsman. Oh, and another hungry penguin. So that is going to be difficult, I think, for us. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get through this. Um, buddy up would be nice. So, right, yeah, because if we get a buddy up with Prepare for a Wild Night. Then we might be able to flop the Hungry Penguins. Although, right, then they can unflop with What a Twist. Okay, so we'll flop one Hungry Penguin anyway. Or should we flop the Swordsman? No, I think we flop one Hungry Penguin, because if I draw a Not Your Keys with Prepare for a Wild Night, then I can make the Swordsman kind of ice itself. So yeah, so let's play the Prepare for a Wild Night first. Let's see what we get. So we have a lot of outs. Like a Not Your Keys would be very good here. BuddyUp could be interesting. Okay, so we did get Not Your Keys. So what I'm gonna do, I think, is I'm just gonna Not Your Keys the Hungry Penguin. Wait, if I Not Your Keys this Hungry Penguin. Yeah, I think I Not Your Keys this Hungry Penguin. Because what that's gonna enable me to do is, right, that's gonna knock them down to 14. And then the Swordsman will ice itself, which will put them down onto 13. So, okay, so oof, wow. That was a really smart play by them. Okay, so now I lose the game, right? Because, yeah, wow, okay. Hmm. All right, I didn't think about that. Okay, so I had to play Put Your Flippers in the Air. Well, if I played Put Your Flippers in the Air, I would have lost as well. Yeah, so okay, so well, that was very well played by them. I didn't think about that play. I don't know if there's actually a way to get out of this. Let me think about that. Um, I guess I could have played Prepare for a Wild Night to look for another yeah, to look for a what's it called? To look for a if I would have played Prepare for a Wild Night in order to get a BuddyUp, maybe, but anyway, very well played by them. I don't think there was a way out of it for me, but maybe there was. But anyway, let's jump to the next game. All right, taking a look to our next hand. So we do have GotEm and we have a Not Your Keys, but we don't have any card draw. So I think given that situation, I am going to mulligan away everything except one Wizard Penguin, looking for that card draw. Because without the card draw, we're really not in a good place to start. Okay, so we still don't have card draw. So yeah, so at least we have the Flying Penguin for kind of the fast start. But yeah, we're really looking for some card draw here. So we do have the one GotEm, which will help us against the popcorn. Um, okay, so we're playing some sort of red deck. I'm not really sure. Um, red decks often these days are like green mega caffeine with some red splashed in. So it could be that. I don't really see a lot of like pure red decks. So I'm not 100% sure about that. But okay, so let's get the Wizard Penguin. Let's get the Wizard Penguin on the board. Just because it enters flopped. But yeah, so we don't have any card draw. Um, if this is like a red deck running Peace Out Penguin can be pretty strong. But okay, so this looks like it's going to be some sort of aggressive caffeine type build as well. So we have so we have the yeah, okay, so we have the GotEm for the popcorn on curve. So that's not a bad start. We will play I think this turn we'll play Daydreaming just because that will enable us to kind of lure out the popcorn penguin from the standpoint of like if you play Daydreaming. Okay, so let's play Daydreaming. So I'm still kind of holding out hope for the. Yeah, should we play a rod here? I guess we'll play one of these as a rod. I'm still holding out hope for the what's it called for the penguin who might bring a +1 with the penguin who zooms. We do have Put Your Flippers, and we do need some targets for Put Your Flippers. So maybe this was wrong, playing Penguin of the Falling Leaves. I do have the Penguin Who Zooms, but right, for every caffeine that they play, I need a target for my, uh, right, because like with too much caffeine, they can flop everything that's greater than 2 vibe. And for the Put Your Flippers, I still need the target. And then after that, we'll be able to, yeah, play that for the what's it called for the Put Your Flippers. So I'm not really sure. Okay, so I think at this point I'm I'm gonna play BuddyUp as the rod actually. And okay, Kurt right. I'm gonna use GotEm on the popcorn. So there's really no. Do I want to play this now? No, I guess I might as well just hold it. But yeah, this is not a right. We have no card draw, so we still yeah. So they're gonna have to use it on the Daydreaming Penguin here. Okay, they didn't use it on the Daydreaming Penguin, so maybe they have a what's it called? Maybe they have a maybe they have a GotEm for my Daydreaming Penguin. So well, or they have a not a rod anymore. Okay, well either way, um, we can then use our GotEm on the Popcorn Penguin. So I think it's good to get their GotEm out anyway, because right, otherwise this would be a problem later, right? So the question is just right. We need card draw. Without card draw, we're not going to be able to get to 14 before they do, and then that means we're going to have to use the put your flippers when we're not on 14. At which point we're going to definitely lose the game. So and we got through one. Okay, so we got some card draw, but we also just got through one popcorn penguin. So if they play a second popcorn here, it's going to be pretty difficult for us. Okay, so this is going to be some sort of snow globe deck, I guess, with Penguin with Great Mystique. Okay, so I guess that's okay. Is there any reason? No, there's no really reason to play one more. So yeah, so okay, so we at least have our card draw now. Yeah, okay, so how can we deal with a penguin with Great Mystique? We'll be able to remove it with a Not Your Keys, or maybe we can get bigger than it with Put Your Flippers in the Air. Okay, so we see all our card draw, but we don't draw it. And so I think this again is one of the challenges with this deck is there's a lot of like these random elements. So like, you know, check the yellow pages can like high roll and low roll. So if you're like a player that likes these like really high low roll like these like really like big payoffs with big risk type situations, this deck is perfect for you. But if you're someone that's more just trying to have a consistent game, it can be very frustrating. And I'm definitely in the latter category. So that's why whenever I'm playing, I really don't play this deck very often. I think the main reason that I do like making content about it is just because it is one of the most accessible decks for new players. So let's see what's going on here. We're probably only going to have two more turns. So we really need to get some sort of, yeah, we need to get some sort of, what's it called? Like, um, hmm. Okay, so, yeah, so, okay, I guess we will play, yeah, I guess we'll play the Daydreaming Penguin because that's gonna buy us one more turn. So I guess, yeah, I guess we'll play like this because the Penguin can remove the Contemplative Penguin, which might give us one more turn on the clock. But yeah, so they're gonna definitely do some sort of snow globe shenanigans. I can already see that. So I think because of that, I'm gonna use the Daydreaming Penguin this turn because right, because if they play a snow globe next turn, I won't be able to use the Daydreaming Penguin. And right, there's no reason they would have this if they're not playing a snow globe deck. So um yes, okay, so let's see. All right, so well there's a Not Your Keys, but again, we don't draw it. So right, the way that we're going to win this is yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to do a put your flippers in the air that's gonna be bigger than the penguin with Great Mystique. So we need a Not Your Keys to remove it or a Buddy Up. Buddy Up also no, Buddy Up won't work because Buddy Up doesn't work through Snow Globe. So actually Buddy Up doesn't work. So we basically just need a put your flippers. Um Now, there used to be a bug where put your flippers wouldn't work with Snow Globe, but according to the Vibes Discord, that's incorrect. And yeah, the official rulebook says that put your flippers should work with Snow Globe, and they might have fixed that bug. So, okay, so this is at 18. So we still have, all right, so yeah, we're going to just go as wide as we can. And maybe we can outgrow the Penguin with Great Mystique. But again, we keep whiffing on the card draw. So yeah, so let's just keep and right, we wanna keep losing the vibe check, so that's why I guess I should have played the yellow penguin that turn, the yellow wizard. So we have, again, okay, so if we get a Not Your Keys, then we're gonna be in a good place because, right, then we can deal with a penguin with Great Mystique. So, right, at this point, we won't be able to outgrow it, I don't think. Um, and we wanna make sure, like, I don't wanna play the penguin who's late to the party because I don't, yeah, because of the fact that I don't wanna start winning the vibe check. Although maybe if they don't go for the kill this turn, then I'll do it because then I'll win next turn, Right, okay, so they're gonna play Bashful Swordsman and Snow Globe, yeah. Like I said, I thought there'd be a Snow Globe here. So we just need yeah, but we don't have any removal, so this is just not gonna work, right? So we might as well just go as wide as we can. So, right, so we can play 3 penguins, but they won't right? The abilities won't trigger. Um, but at the end of the day, I just don't think we're gonna be big enough, right? Because 24. So, right, if we play Put Your Flippers, it's gonna yeah, it's not sufficient. So, if I would have played the, Penguin Who's Late to the Party last turn, um, is that good enough? Would that have been good enough? Because then we played on something with 8. So it'd be 8 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 24. We would have tied the vibe check, actually. So not playing the Penguin Who's Late to the Party last turn did end up costing us. So yeah, so that's unfortunate because we end up barely losing. So, yeah, because we could have tied there, but then again, like, how would we have won the next turn? I'm not really sure about that. So again, we really needed a not your keys. So yeah, so not a great game for us, but yeah, let's jump to the next one and hopefully we can do better there. So okay, so this is the same person we played in game two. So this is going to be caffeine again. Right, because they were playing a caffeine list. So knowing that we're playing against caffeine, um, doesn't really change the game plan, except for I'm gonna be more careful with put your flippers. And okay, so I've not your keys for the yeah, so I've not your keys for the what's it called? Um, for the popcorn penguin. Okay, so we have flying penguin into penguin who might bring the +1 into prepare for a wild night. We have not your keys for popcorn. I would obviously prefer a GotEm. Although the problem with getting GotEm with Prepare for a Wild Night is they kind of see that you draw it, so then they won't play into it. Although I guess um, even just the act of preventing them from seeing it is sufficient. So I'm not playing a rod there, just because like I don't need to play a lot of rods, and I'm going to be winning the vibe checks. So it's not a big deal. Okay, so yes, okay, so I have not your keys. Hmm. Okay, so not your keys is a plan for popcorn, but I do need to get more penguins on the board. And right now, yeah. So let's see. So I definitely want to play this, and I think I will. Yeah, I will play the pot stirring as well. Like, and then I'll be able to play the prepare for a wild night this turn, and then hopefully I'll just keep drawing penguins because I'm definitely short on the penguin list. And okay, so they have that penguin. Okay, so yeah, there's no way I can lose this 5 check, so I'm gonna have to tie it. But, if I can get 1 more penguin next turn, then I'll be able to, yeah, then I'll be able to okay, so I have, like, infinite put your flippers. So we'll be able to play so many put your flippers, which is really good. But, okay, so I really want a penguin from my draw because otherwise I can't deal with the popcorn. So in order to deal with the popcorn, I need a penguin here. Um, okay, so I didn't get a penguin. I'm gonna play Buddy Up as a rod just because in this matchup, Buddy Up. Oh no, okay, so that was maybe wrong because yeah, Buddy Up is not useful. It would have been maybe useful against all those hungry penguins. So I seem to have drawn basically all the actions. So I probably was too aggressive playing penguins as my rods. But yeah, so let's see here. So we do really yeah, because if they play a popcorn here, then yeah, we can't really do anything about it. So it's gonna be very devastating, and I think they're probably debating if they should play the popcorn, but they know that we have got them. Okay, so they didn't play it, which is very fortunate for us. So let's just play another, Prepare for a Wild Night. So we're just gonna keep getting cards in our hand, but I think the problem is okay, so we really need to check the yellow pages because 'cause we're really short on penguins, and we just get another Buddy Up. Okay, so that was not a good draw. So, yeah, so let's see. So we do have right, if we can just get one more penguin, we should be able to handle the popcorn as it comes out. Although even that, I'm not 100% sure will be useful because right. Yeah, we really just ended up with all the action cards. Well, and part of the reason for that is because we had to prepare for a wild night. So yeah, so at this point, What do we need? We really need we need penguins and check the yellow pages. Okay, so we got another penguin. It's a little sad because, um, yeah, we're gonna be winning the vibe check, but I don't really should I play rods here? I do wonder if I should play rods, but I think I'm gonna play it slower. Um, because yeah, so the reason I had to play this penguin here is if they play popcorn now, I'll be able to deal with it. Um, and if they play, yeah, so if they play inspiring story, I guess it's a little unfortunate because I do want to lose a vibe check, but the only way to lose a vibe check is to um yeah, is to play like not your keys, in which case I'll win the vibe check. So, well, but we want to keep both not your keys because I'm sure it's going to be like back to back popcorns. Um, so let's see what we get this turn. Ugh, another buddy up. Okay, I'm gonna play this as a rod just to like, yeah. So we really ended up with all the actions, which maybe there's a way we're gonna be able to turn this into the victory. But like, right, if popcorn comes here, we remove the popcorn with not your keys. Um, Although if they have a caffeine here, it'll be devastating. But okay, so we can handle the popcorn, and we'll lose the vibe check, which will be good. Um, so okay, so we can take care of the first popcorn, and then we'll be able to draw 2 cards this turn, um, which will then we draw 2 cards, we're gonna be at 11. We'll play a rod, 12. So if both the cards we draw are penguins, we might be able to set up a win for next turn. Um, but yeah, we're super light on penguins this game, which is very rare because this deck is just so full of penguins. But okay, so let's see what we get here. So let's see, we want a penguin. Okay, we didn't get a penguin, but at least we got to check the yellow pages. Although if they have a second popcorn, then we needed penguin, or there's no way we can deal with a popcorn. Okay, so Romulus is not bad because we can get through Romulus with BuddyUp. I do worry that with yeah, with that they probably took a popcorn back to their hand. Okay, so we got a wizard penguin, so that'll buy us 1 turn. And do we want to play a rod here? No, I don't think we want to play a rod. I think we'll just play the check the yellow pages this turn because the buddy up could be very useful in this situation. So we play the check the yellow pages. Hopefully we draw. We draw. If we draw 3 penguins here, that would be really nice. But let's see what we get. 0. Wow. Okay. So again, we've been not the luckiest on the card draw today, which again, I don't want to say that that's not like how this deck goes because that's kind of, that's kind of part of the problem with playing this deck. But yeah. Wow. And now we really need penguins and we got another check the yellow pages. So that's definitely not a good situation. So if they play another popcorn here, then we won't be able to set up for the win, which will be very unfortunate. But maybe there's a world where okay, yeah. So there's no way we can win this turn because they play popcorn. Um, but at least we have the not your keys for this popcorn. Um, okay, so well, if we not your keys this popcorn, okay, so we can play the pot stirring. So let's see. Okay, so they're gonna remove the pot stirring, so we're gonna have, yeah, we're still gonna be short anyway. But maybe there's a world where we will be able to win this in the long game. Um, but I kind of don't see the world where, yeah. So I think so. Buddy Up is kind of interesting because it could still work as a finisher. So I think I'm actually gonna play check the yellow pages as a rod. Um, just because, yeah. So the reason we're playing check the yellow pages as a rod is that I just don't see a world where we're gonna have the we're gonna have the what's it called, the Pudge available to play it, and we're gonna have to basically. So this turn we have to remove something. So this turn we'll remove the popcorn penguin, and then the theoretically the bashful swordsman will remove itself, and then next turn maybe we can win with Buddy Up. But again, also if they have a GotEm, that could cause us problems. Up, they have escape in time. Okay, so we lose this game as well. Um, okay, so all right, Yeah, okay. So, yeah, well, so yeah, there's no way I was getting around escape in time there. Um, so yeah, so okay, so cool. Okay, so I think yeah, I think we're gonna call it here. So overall, I think we played so we played 4 games and we only won 1 of them, which I think kind of shows why this deck is not the strongest deck in the world, but also just keep in mind that we are playing against fairly high like those were all very good players we were playing. And again, like I think to just summarize a little bit, like this deck, so each of those games was close, and I think I'm also, like, a little rusty on this deck, so I think that deck I could have maybe squeezed out 1 or 2 additional wins. Also, I think I did get more on the unlucky side with the card draw, right? Like, remember in that game, we got the, like, 0 on the check the yellow pages, so I think there could have been I think in all of the games, there was definitely ways we could have won that. And so I think, again, like, with a yellow aggressive deck, just keep in mind, it's definitely not the strongest deck at all, but I think if you have a limited collection, it's a good deck to build towards, and overall, I think if you, yeah, if you like that type of play style, it's definitely something to consider. So thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.